Test. Brand new.
All right, good evening. Public Service Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Sherry Pickering, Ethan Burt,
Present.
Eve Ludwig,
Present.
Tricia Teague, present, Robert Williams,
Present.
Darren York, Chairman Rick Streebing,
Here,
5 present.
5 present. We do have one out sick, and we do have one who's on vacation, so. Brings us to the approval of the minutes for February 22nd of 2022. I'll need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor of approval of the minutes? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 3, approval of the agenda in front of you this evening. I don't think there's been any changes that we got this evening. Everything was changed, and it's on your computer this evening. So any updates or anything we had, I'll need a motion in a second to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Puts us to item number 4, audience comments.
Did anyone wish to speak this evening? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Puts us to number 5, chairman's comments. Don't have anything to say neither. Puts us to item number 6, approval of payrolls for March 18th of 2022. I'll need a motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion in a second. Is there any questions on the payrolls? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Pickering, Burt,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York, Streebing,
Yes.
5 yes.
5 yes, thank you. Puts us item number 7, approval of vouchers payables for 3/22 of 22. I'll need a motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion in a second. Is there any questions on the vouchers payables? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Burt,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague, yes. Williams,
Yes.
York, Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering, 5 yes.
5 yes, thank you. Puts us to 8, city clerk's report. Miss Lisa Munson, items of information for us.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I'd like to report our annual business license renewals have been sent out. Those have an expiration date of April 30th. So we're processing those payments and getting the approvals from everyone before we can actually mail out the licenses. The second thing I'd like to talk about is the Statement of Economic Interest forms. As you know, they've changed this year, and I have had some individuals call, with some concerns about how to complete the forms. So I do have some information here. I think I emailed it as well, but I don't know if you saw the most recent. This is like 3 different. Not trying to bombard you with information, but the IML has sent several things, and they most recently sent a letter to the legislators to maybe modify the changes they made to the Public Act last year. So I don't know if any of you have had a chance to review that yet. They were mailed to your homes.
I did notice there were a couple of differences.
Yes, they are different this year, quite a bit.
I
Yeah.
did get mine signed and in, so I'm good.
You've already turned yours in, Chairman?
Yes, I
Okay,
took it right up there and said, keep it. There you go. They give me my copy and I'm happy.
thank you. So if
Alderman, you
anybody,
can either turn
yeah.
those in directly, or you can also turn those into the clerk, and she'll submit them for us.
Oh, I already mailed mine.
That's fine. Okay, anybody have any questions regarding that or? Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Puts us to number 9, finance. Ashland Macy, comptroller. Items of information, probably go through risk management and personnel monthly report.
Thank you. Attached in your packet is a personnel and risk manager report. If you have any questions on those, I'm happy to take those at this time before I get into my updates. Okay. So Friday, we sent out our February Zone 8, which means residential utility bills. Those are due April 7th. We are now back on track with what was previously routine and what customers have and citizens have requested, which is to be on a routine, repetitive billing cycle, a due date they can expect that lines up with what they're used to, which is what DSD's due dates were. Totally understand that, wanted to get back on track. So that is why they were mailed Friday. They're due April 7th. Starting with the April billing cycle bill that will be sent in May, there is a rate increase built into the ordinance. For the residential rate, that is $1. So if you pay a utility bill of $75.50, that'll be going up to $76.50. That was built into the ordinance when it was passed. So I just want to put that out there for residents to expect that. There's also a change in the commercial rate, but it's not an even dollar. We'll be sending out a notice on the back of your next bill as a reminder so that they'll see that and have a heads up. I also want to say in regards to utility billing, penalty will be charged again starting in May. Due to the difficulties with the transition of utility billing, the city decided to forego charging penalty for a period of time so that people could get used to the new system, learn where they can pay, who to get in contact if they have questions, get a hold of us if they have corrections needed. May, we will start charging penalty as we have previously. I have a meeting with Mayor and some others regarding ARPA funds this week. I hope to bring a formal proposal to you here soon. And then I've also had in the last week and a half preliminary meetings with Clifton Larson Allen regarding our audit. Due to taking on utility billing, there's likely going to be a scope change. When they bid out that 5-year agreement with us, they weren't planning on having us take on utility billing and having to review all that. So I will probably have to come and do, I guess it'd be a bid amendment because they bid for 5 years, just regarding that scope change and how that'll impact the remaining 3 years on the agreement. So just want to give a heads up about that. That's all the big things I have. I can take any questions at this time.
I don't have any questions, but I do got a comment because I think in May, the sewer bill goes up as well.
That's what she was referring to, Chairman.
Okay.
I might have said the wrong. Sometimes I say one word and I
that's
mean
fine.
another word. So I'm like,
That's
is that what I
fine.
said?
Solid waste and
Solid waste,
and the public safety pension fee are not slated to go up.
Okay. Any other questions for the comptroller? No, thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Puts us number 10, Document Masters, Fire Chief, items of information, his monthly status report.
Good evening. You should have in your packets the February incident reports, statements. We had 5 building fires over the month of February, testing to about $162,000 worth of damage as a total. Excuse me. 2 of those were large ones. One of them was the as you're aware of, the old Ruckers Auto Body Shop down in South Gilbert, which was a total loss at approximately $50,000 guesstimation, as well as we had a large fire out at Redden Court at one of the apartment complexes. So those 2 significant numbers, $50,000 of loss each, is why the number's kind of high this month. Again, we had five fires total. For a total of $162,000 worth of damage. Total property values somewhere in the neighborhood of about $670,000, $680,000 worth of property involved in the 5 properties. We had a total of 290 calls for service. Again, mostly primarily medical calls and or what we call still alarms, checking for illegal burns, checking for smell of smoke, checking for gas leaks, so forth, so on. I say this very carefully, but believe it or not, that was a fairly uneventful month. Another information we've been working on for some time, putting specs together for a new fire engine to put out for bid. A fire engine. I was hoping to have it for you by this month, but as you see, I do not. So I'm hoping by next month I'll have the committee so we can start discussion about. And I would be having conversations, I'm sure, with Ashland prior to that, as far as financing and things, as far as for a replacement apparatus to start getting on the books. It takes multiple months for us to just put specs together based on what we need. And then once we put it out for bid and we accept a bid, then it takes approximately on average about 10 to 12 months for them to actually build a truck for us. So it's a long drawn out process. So I was hoping to have it. They originally told me they were going to have it to me by the end of January, which became the end of February, and here we're almost to the end of March, and I still don't have it. So that's what I'm working on right now. I have nothing else
Well,
significant.
the question I have, is it going to be a regular fire truck or is it going to be a ladder truck? Because I know a ladder truck is getting pretty old too.
Our ladder truck, our current ladder truck. Yeah, you're going to love me when we start talking capital improvements plan.
It
Um,
doesn't matter. You got to have it. So.
Yeah. We're looking at right now replacing as far as an engine company is concerned, an engine. Our oldest one right now in service is a 2006, but we've still got a reserve status truck that's a 1992 that'll get off the books. And our aerial ladder, our new aerial ladder right now is already, it's 20 years old this year. And so and again, with the lead time and everything else to build one, I'm going to be looking and asking for that to be replaced in the next, putting on the books for the next 3 years or so. I'm looking into, and I've had discussions with several people as far as the aerial is concerned, because it's such a significant dollar figure, at looking at a leasing program for those instead of the benefits of a leasing program instead of a purchase program on that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's going to be because you're looking at, if I replaced ours today, the way it sits with these things on it, which of course with technology and everything, it's 20 years old. It's hard to do, but just nothing fancy to replace that truck right now, probably be about 1.4, 1.5 million.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for the chief? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Which is number 11, Human Relations, Miss Sandra Finch.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you received my report yesterday evening. In terms of the office handled 17 complaints, which consisted of 2 police complaints, 6 employment complaints, 6 housing complaints, 3 public accommodation complaints. Do you have any questions regarding the complaints?
No. I'm just glad that you have to do it. Any questions for Miss Finch?
I do want to add that we are having Community Day.
Are we?
Yes, we are. And the date for Community Day is July 10th, the second Sunday in July. And so we normally start at 2:30, so you can mark your calendars for Community Day.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
for the newer aldermen, we all, if you're able, of course, serve the meal that day as folks come. So you usually want us there at about 2 o'clock, correct, Ms.
Oh,
Sandra?
yes, and hopefully we'll have good weather this year. That was a nightmare last year, and we had so much food, and hopefully we'll have good weather.
Thank you very much. Which is item number 12, Information Technology, Agno De Silva.
Thank you, Chairman. I sent out a report to everyone. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those questions. We have a couple of projects, minor ones. We're doing some upgrades on our sewer trucks, the computer system. We're also doing some updates on the SCADA, which is the pump station computer system. Also, we sent out our annual training enrollment email to everyone for our security awareness training. So I'd highly recommend everyone take that training. So we made it more fun with some games and quizzes and whatnot. So I would appreciate if you all can be a part of this thing and work together to make our security stronger here. I'm also looking into replacing our parts lines, what do you call them, like the plain old telephone lines from AT&T. Verizon has come up with a solution for us, so we can see a significant cost savings with that solution. So we should have something soon. Have a call with them, try to figure out how to get our alarm lines, the pump stations, and other parts lines to replace those. And that, just would like to thank my team for taking care of stuff while I was gone last week. So that's all I got. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I just have one question. When
Sure.
was the security training sent out?
It comes from a company called Nobi4. It is our training provider.
Okay.
It's a I can send you out a sample email, what it looks like.
It was sent to us too, though.
Yes.
Okay.
It was sent to all employees. If you didn't receive it, just let me know.
What's the date on? Do you remember when?
March
when?
14th.
March 14th. Okay.
Yes.
I'll go look for the
Sure.
email.
I don't think I got it, or if I did, I thought
Okay.
maybe somebody's playing games and I probably went, "Boop, goodbye."
I think
You
I
know,
remember
it-
seeing it.
You played that game too, so.
We do that every month.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it, but I didn't open it because
I've got it.
I wasn't sure what it was.
Good
Okay.
thing, good, y'all are, the training is
Hey.
working. We're being careful, right?
Yeah, but
Scared you. He sends those tests.
You ain't kidding.
but then I think when numbers look really good, our risk score is staying in the green, which is what we want. And compared to any other organizations out there, I mean, we feel better about, and mainly due to your support. I mean, I couldn't have done this without your support to build a good program like this. So I appreciate that.
Well, I did see in all your stuff that you sent us today, you guys are busy,
It
really busy.
it's if you see those numbers, how they kind of spike, it's insane, and it's only going to get worse. I mean,
Well, the big news tonight, they had another thing about starting to watch a little more careful because they're
Yeah.
still trying harder. So
but thank you.
thank you, Agnell.
No problem.
Puts us to item number 13, legal. Corporate counsel, Mr. James Simon. We have 13A, an ordinance amending Danville City Code subsection 31.32C, public petitions and communications. I make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for your approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Do you have any questions? This?
My only question is, what was the impetus behind making this change?
The purpose for the amendment is to more or less bring our otherwise old public comment ordinance pretty much up to date and do a little more delineation as to what's expected in public comment to make it more efficient and give more residents or citizens or anyone else who wishes to speak the opportunity to speak. We've had a limit. It generally hasn't been enforced, and there's always the possibility that when we need to move on to other business, that somebody gets left out. So that's the reason. Other communities, I mean, some communities are being bombarded. We haven't gotten there yet, but there are a couple of individuals out there who are, thinking about bombarding our community with incessant public comment that really has little or no value to the city of Danville. And so we want to make sure everyone has a chance to speak.
Any other questions on this ordinance change? If not, roll call, please.
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In what I read, it said that someone from the community speaking couldn't give part of his time to someone else to speak. My question is, as an alderman, could I give time to someone to speak during the meeting? That's not specifically spelled out.
Normally, because the ordinance is written that there's a limited amount of time, the way it should operate is if you want to give somebody more time to speak, you should ask the chairman if he'll entertain, or the mayor, depending on which meeting it is, if they'll entertain a motion to extend the time. And if so, and it's up to them to willing to put that motion on the floor, there should be a precise motion, how much more time you want to give the speaker, and then there has to be a vote on it. Frankly, I would strongly recommend against that, though, because what ends up happening is some people get more time and other people, when they request it, don't get more time. And then there's a question of, gee, why did you give that person more time and not me? I mean, it is the time for the community to provide input. And if they can't provide input in 3 minutes, then maybe what they ought to do is contact the mayor or the chairman of the committee to actually schedule a presentation for their, whatever it is they want to speak about.
I was thinking more like the last situation where someone was late and he was beyond the time when, communications normally are. During the meeting, since I can speak during the meeting, can I refer to that person and have them speak. And that may, I know that may open up a can of worms.
Yeah, I would think, if council members are now deferring throughout the meeting to others to speak, it pretty much has the propensity of creating chaos. I mean, the meetings need to be orderly. You've got a lot of important business at every meeting you consider, whether it's a committee or a council meeting and all. As I said, public input, frankly, it is that time for the public to provide their thoughts, comments, concerns, complaints, criticism, as long as it's done without defamatory or threatening statements. But it's a time for the community to speak. It's not really a time to engage in debate between a council member and a member of the public. Frankly, if somebody wants to talk to a council member, they're always free to reach out by email and arrange a time that they can talk. But again, it's your rules, and they can be modified or changed as the councils and the initiating committee sees fit.
I have a question, which you may not know the answer to right off the top of your head, but pertaining to what Vice Mayor just asked about, is there language someplace else in the ordinances pertaining to yielding your time as a council member?
I'm not aware of any such time. The only ordinance that I'm aware of that in any way deals with public comment is this particular ordinance that's being sought to be amended.
Okay, thank you.
Normally what happens is whenever you, according to Robert's Rules of Order, you yield your time to another member of the body. So, for example, I could yield time to you or you to me or vice versa. It's not to people who are not actual participants in the meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
maybe
and our rules do say that we follow Robert's Rules of Order. So
I may have
technically-
misunderstood the Vice Mayor's question. If you're talking about discussion among committee members or council members, yes, you can, as the mayor indicated, under Robert's rules, you can yield time. But again, as the mayor indicated, that's not, Robert's rules don't govern what happens with the public and their comments. There's no provision in Robert's rules for public comment. That's a state statute.
Any other questions on this ordinance change? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York, Pickering, Burt,
Yes.
Streebing.
Yes.
5 yes.
Yes, thank you. Puts us to 13B, items of information. What do you have for us, Mr. Simon? Anything?
Not much. We continue to handle a large volume of ordinance violation cases. They work their way through our administrative adjudication process pretty efficiently. Effective May 1, as you probably recall from an authorization that you granted, that the city is no longer going to be accepting cases from the various villages that had been working with us. Some of them the northern villages are going to be working with Hoopston, and I believe the west and central villages are going to be setting up their either intergovernmental agreement to set up a joint administrative adjudication process, but we're not certain whether that's going to take off, and we're willing to help them. Generally, we won't set it up for them, but we're willing to give them guidance on that to help them. They have to come and get their case files, but they haven't reached out to us. And as far as small claims cases, as of May 1, we will stop handling even cases that are actually in small claims court. And they're going to have to arrange to provide for counsel to handle those.
What I love about that, Chairman, is it allows our folks to focus on our problems, as you all will call, in helping the other county townships or municipalities. Our folks were spending roughly 20% of their time on that. Well, we all know that we have a lot of issues in our neighborhoods that need addressed. And so this allows us to spend more time focusing on the things that are happening in Danville.
And I don't expect that their workload's going to lighten up, because we're going to have the toter ordinance that we will be enforcing when citations are issued. The other thing is, I'm going to, when I get some time in the next couple of weeks, take a look at some of our forms that were created a long time ago for our administrative adjudication process, the court forms, and modify them, streamline them. There's some language that I find in some cases not very intelligible, so we're going to clean them up.
And Chairman, they won't say it, but I'm going to brag on them. I really appreciate Corporation Counsel and our Assistant Corporation Counsel. One of the things that they've changed about municipal court is in the past, we only used to get an order requiring someone else to do something. So for example, a neighbor trashes their house and leaves garbage everywhere. We would often eventually get an order for them to have to remediate that issue. But if they don't, then there was no recourse, right? Even if we were to take it across the street. I'm really happy that nearly all of our orders now include the right for us to remediate the issue if they don't in a certain period of time. Now, the difficulty then becomes, let's say we have 1,000 orders where we're allowed to clean up stuff. We only have so much time that our guys and gals in Public Works can clean up things, right? So, but it does, at least we do then have the right to remedy the issue, remedy the problem ourselves once we can do so.
And we have the right to charge the cost to the property owner, and if they don't pay the cost, we can file liens on the
On their
property.
We've actually learned that we can even file a lien that would go on their property taxes if the county would cooperate with us. I don't know. We have not had those conversations with the appropriate elected officials yet, but that's something that we aspire to do. But we're tired of people leaving their trash for everyone else to deal with and to take. It's not fair to our residents, and it's not fair to our business people in this community.
All right. Anything else from corporate counsel, I think?
Nothing further.
Okay. Thank you very much. Puts us item number 14 from the police department. Police Chief Yates not here this evening, but you have your year-to-date offense data through February.
And Chairman, we have Deputy Chief Webb here to.
Deputy Chief Webb is here. So if you got any questions on any of the stuff you received, I'm sure he'd be glad to answer any questions you've got.
For those that haven't met me, I'm Deputy Chief Josh Webb. I'm in charge of the investigations division at the department. A couple of things when I talked to the chief that he wanted me to bring up is that we have seen some reductions in some of the major crime that we've been really focusing on. Obviously, the gun violence is a priority in the community, and we've really been going at it pretty hard this year. And we have seen a reduction in that. We're obviously not satisfied, right? We don't want one incident, let alone some of the ones that we've seen in the past. But we have seen a reduction in that. We're going to continue to work on that. Couple of other things that he wanted to bring up is that I'm sure he's talked to the council about the domestic violence initiative that he put together, and we have seen some positive feedback on that. The numbers are down a little bit. Obviously, you don't expect that to be great right away when you're putting these new initiatives in place, but we have seen a lot of positive feedback, especially with working with the outside organizations. That's really been where we've seen a lot of the positive feedback is getting those guys involved. Those are a couple of things that he wanted me to bring up tonight, but I can obviously answer any other questions about any of the other data if you had any.
Any questions from any of you? All right. Any more items of information?
One of the ones he wanted to bring up is that we do have the 5 new candidates that were hired that are in the police academy right now. The feedback is they're all doing great. They're all doing well. They're on track to graduate and get certified, and they're looking at graduating at the end of April. So we're happy about that. We're also ramping up some of our efforts on some of our application process, looking at doing some job fairs, looking at reaching out to some of the universities and going there and presenting ourselves to try to entice some new recruits to come this way. And then we're also looking at a program to maybe do some lateral transfers of some officers with experience in other organizations that might be wanting to come over here and be a part of Danville. So those are a couple of things that we got going on. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. I can answer what I have, and obviously the chief would have more information when he returns.
Any other questions for the police department? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Puts us to item number 15, closed session, which is evidently no need for tonight. I don't, that hurts my feelings, but thank you. And number 16, items of information. Mary, have anything for us?
Yes, only because it's going to happen before our next council meeting. Just a reminder that we're going to be having a great day celebrating Easter and spring next Friday from 3 to 7 p.m. There will be a petting zoo and small rides for small children at the library from 3 to 7. Also, the Easter Bunny will be down in the Easter House in Temple Plaza for pictures during that time. We will have an Easter egg hunt for the young people starting at 5 o'clock. The various ages go every half hour. And then for the adults, there's actually an adult Easter egg hunt downtown from 7 to 9. The various vendors downtown will be open. You can go in and you won't actually be hunting for an egg, but you'll receive an egg at the different shops that are participating. They'll have everything from good candy to gift certificates to $100 bill in one egg in each location. So it's going to be a fun night downtown for our first Fridays. Hope to see y'all there.
Thank you. Anybody else have any items of information?
Just a reminder that I will be hosting Land of Lincoln Legal Aid for the tenants' rights and duties workshop on this Saturday at 1 o'clock at the library.
Thank you very much.
Also, Chairman, I would just want to let everyone know I'll be giving you an update. There was a discussion about mold at the last issue, and Administrator Finch was correct that we are not able to remediate mold issues according to state statute. We had a long conversation with our inspectors, and it's not a part of the code. So that is accurate.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Well, if there's no other items of information, puts us to number 17. Due to the fact that we have done everything we had on the agenda this evening, I will entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
So move.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Ashley. Time is that, Trisha?